Okay. Sorry that we're 5 minutes late. Emily's fault, as usual.
I was here early.
If you guys can hear and see us, post in the chat. Let's see. Let's see. I'm not seeing any comments yet. Oh man, did no one show up because we were late?
Maybe.
What are you doing?
I'm just testing the water here.
Okay, yeah, we got.
You gave me the controls. That's your fault. Hey, Mackenzie B. Thanks for joining us. Where are you joining us from?
Yeah, post on YouTube. Yeah, we got 7. Okay, we got folks coming in. We are late. And let's see, where is LinkedIn? Is LinkedIn in the house? LinkedIn has been slacking, man. People have not been showing up on the LinkedIn side.
Hi, Melvin.
Anyone here from LinkedIn? Just see YouTube. Michigan's in the building. Oh, Georgia right now. Okay. Maine. I think this is the first person we've seen. I don't think we've seen Maine in the chat before.
Yeah, nice. All right. I love this username. Peace, love, no granola. Who are you and where are you watching us from today?
Whoa, what's the hate with granola? What's going on there?
Yeah, let us know.
Ooh, that
Utah.
reminds me. Oh, LinkedIn's in the house. That reminds me. Greek yogurt, like vanilla Greek yogurt with fruit. Got your fruit going, any fruit, pineapple, strawberry with granola. You guys, listen. That's how you eat granola. You don't eat granola by itself. You gotta have it with like a yogurt parfait or something like that. Oh, Utah's in the building. Maybe Utah doesn't have great granola. Is Utah known for their granola? Who's known for good granola?
Germany.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's too far for me, though. I shouldn't have to go that far to get some good granola, though.
No, you shouldn't. And you don't. There's good granola in Florida. I'm sure you've had some. But I mean, for me, it's a little bit surprising so question for you. Did you initially just eat granola by itself? Because that's confusing for me. I don't think I've ever had just granola. Like for me, it's like peanut butter and jelly. It's yogurt and granola.
Oh, you have not had it with. That's your problem. Now you know what to do. Your homework is to make sure you have granola with the yogurt, not by itself. That's just not. It's not how it works. Like no one.
That's not even an option, Kadisha. How do you even come to that idea?
Like no one just goes and orders like mashed potatoes. It's a side, you know?
To some people.
To most people, it's a side.
All right. So personally, I am team yogurt with granola. Drop it in the comments. Yogurt or no yogurt with your granola. This is going to bother me otherwise.
St. Lucia's in the house.
Oh, hello.
Okay.
Nice.
Not enough Caribbean is usually here. So, all right. Okay. All right. We got 20 people on YouTube at least. I can't see on LinkedIn. LinkedIn has changed their thing.
Oh, we got a couple comments from LinkedIn.
A couple.
Suvek.
Yeah.
Did you
I
see
can't really
Suvek
see. I think we have 5. All right. Listen, we got some good stuff going on today. Yeah. Yogurt, granola, fruit for the win. Yeah, better. It's better than ice cream, to be honest. We got some good stuff going on today, Emily. The idea is the one thing you need to land a data analyst job in 90 days. And, the reason why, I came up with this idea, actually, I sent a message to the students today, right, about, it's 140 days left until Thanksgiving. What is the significance of that number or Thanksgiving, other than, the holiday? The idea is, I always tell people, whether it's July, June, February, if you want to land a job in this calendar year, you want to have an offer in hand by Thanksgiving. Like, you want to be celebrating, if you celebrate Thanksgiving, you want to be celebrating it with a new offer by then. So
Mm,
it's July 9th, on the East Coast. And there's 140 days left, because usually people, they think that they have more time than they do, and then,
mm,
oh, it gets like too further down. They're like, you know what? I'll just do it next year or whatever. I'll just start later. No, the best time to start was yesterday. The best time to invest in Bitcoin was yesterday. So you gotta start now. So
right.
we were coming up with ideas, and we're like, you know what, when it comes down to what it takes to land a data analyst job, honestly, the ingredients hasn't changed much, for forever. There hasn't been too many new things. There's not like anything new to that you could be doing right now that wasn't available 6 months ago. So it's like, thinking about it, what is the thing, or the one thing that really separates people who actually land jobs, land interviews, but other than everyone else, when all this abundance of information and things like that is available, right? We've been
Mm,
doing these lives for how many times, and there's still people, um, not making it.
yeah.
And so we pretty much just came up with a way. And again, this isn't really new information, but we want to give you guys really the key thing, to really just really implement and really up your game when it comes down to landing a job. It's not just about learning skills, right? If you want to just learn Excel, go take an Excel course. But that's not the point. It's not about learning analytics. It's not about learning data. It's about landing the dang job, right? And
Mm,
there's multiple components, and we're gonna go through with that, right?
yeah, absolutely.
We got slides.
We have slides. Is it my turn to present?
I was handing you the baton and you dropped it.
I should. Sorry. All right. So for everybody out there, welcome to the slides. And actually, before I go into the slides, I think something that Kadisha said, that really hits home with me is that, yeah, there are people who set out to do it and they don't make it happen. And I've seen it too, right? People come to me and I give them all of the structure that they need. I give them all of the strategy that they need. This is what we're doing week 1, week 2, week 3, up to week 12, to week however many weeks you need. And it only works if you do it. So having something to do and knowing what to do is one thing, and then actually putting it into action and doing it is the other part of the equation.
Right
So
before
that
that,
being said,
I just want to
what
add, on
yeah.
top of that, when you say that there's people who set out to do something and then they don't do that,
Mm,
here's another missing ingredient. You need to be upset about not getting it, right? There's
yeah,
people, too many people they're like, I'm gonna become an analyst, I'm gonna get the job. It's July. They set out the goal the first day of January. They didn't get it, and it's like it's just another day to them.
yeah.
No, you really you have to really be uncomfortable, right? Like
Right.
I always say, like, I used to deliver pizzas and I deliver insights. Well, heck, delivering pizzas was uncomfortable. Like, I was very uncomfortable. I did not want to keep doing it. So it was like, even if you maybe have like a great whatever it is, if you don't have a dire circumstance, whatever it is, you really have to, um, whether it's not necessarily putting pressure on yourself, but it's like you gotta really like, um, be upset, or something, if you don't get it, right? Too
Yeah,
many people are comfortable or okay with not achieving the goal. And there's really
right.
nothing that, no course, nothing that could be given to you. If you simply, it doesn't make a difference if it doesn't happen for you or not. For those who land the job, those who say that they're going to do something and they do it, it means something. It really means something, and they to actually achieve it. And if they don't, it's like that's not even an option, right?
Right.
It shouldn't be an option.
Absolutely. Yeah. Be comfortable with being uncomfortable. I think that is the key thing, especially like when you're transitioning into a new field. And like also, I would love to let everyone in on a little secret. Like everyone is uncomfortable. Like I talk to so many people from like early career, just graduating from university to, senior executives. And one thing that completely shocked me about being in contact with all these different people is that like everyone is faking it. Like everyone is learning it right now in real time as it happens. So if you're one of those people who is like looking at other people and thinking like, oh my God, they have all their stuff together, I can guarantee you that person is looking to the next person and saying like, oh my God, I can't believe they have all their stuff together. So you're not alone. You're not the only one. We are all here experiencing it live right now for the very first time. So welcome to the discomfort. And that being said, because I want to give you guys something that you'll be able to take away and use today. So I want to give you a little bit of context. So we've been talking about the one thing. What is the one thing? So, Kadisha and I went back and forth about this a little bit, and getting down to the bottom of it, what the one thing is having a system. You can be an amazing data analyst. And I've seen this. You can have all the skills in the world, and having those skills is the data analyst skill set, or the data scientist, or the data engineer, or the whatever it is that you are, whatever job you're looking for, you have those skills. Congratulations. You have exactly 50% of what you need in order to land the job. The other 50% is having a deep understanding of how to land a job, how to get it done. And I think we mentioned this on the live before. When I don't did we talk about this when we were in like high school and we had to take the ACTs and the SATs, those standardized tests? Like we were always learning two different things, right? Like on the one hand, we were learning the math and all of the English and all the things that we needed, all the subject matter for the test. And then on the other hand, they taught us how to take the test. Like this is what you know about this, what you need to know about the structure of the test. This is what you need to know about your timing. This is what you need to know about your strategy. So having the skills is like knowing the content and the subject matter. And then when we talk about having the system for the job search, that's like putting it into action and actually being able to successfully pass that test. So that being said, I would like to start out by talking about different stages in the job search. So you can see here on the slide, stage 1, discovery, stage 2, alignment, and step 3 is execution. Discovery is basically what I like to call, what do I want to be when I grow up? So people think like, oh yeah, I've got all this stuff. What can I do? What can I do? So basically, we need to have a job title in mind. And it doesn't have to be like one job title. Like you don't have to pick between, BI analyst and financial analyst and data analyst. You can put those all into the same category. But it's a different thing to say, okay, BI analyst and marketing manager and I don't know, RevOps engineer. Like those are really different things. And if you feel like you're a person who has all of those things under your hat, I congratulate you because you have an amazing, crazy, wide skill set. And we need to be giving people what they want. So we got to start with step 1. Figure out what it is that you want and then go from there. Most people start with step 3, which is just get it done. And that person is going to be like, okay, I'm going to start with me. I'm going to put all of my information about me on my LinkedIn page, which kind of makes sense, right? I mean, what are we doing? We're talking about ourselves, trying to market our skills. And we need to also make sure that we are aligning ourselves to the companies and aligning ourselves to that hiring manager who's going to want to hire you specifically for the job. So I can tell you, when I was sitting in that recruiter's chair, hiring for analysts, data analysts, BI analysts, whatever the case may be, and I saw somebody who had applied to 8 different jobs in 8 different departments at my company, it was a hard pass. They may very well have been a rock star in all of those different departments, but I had no idea what they actually wanted. So that being said, I recommend running this system. These 3 stages: discovery, figuring out specifically, honing it in, what do you want to be when you grow up? Stage 2, alignment. Once you've decided on those role types, go out there into the world, figure out what companies want, and give them that. And then step 3, execution, is where we get it done. So in order to like break this down a little bit more, so my specialty is step 2 and step 3. Most of the people that I work with are pretty solid on what they want to be when they grow up, although sometimes we do need to hone it in a little bit. I would just ask yourself, if you are in stage 1, what is really important in that next role for you? Is it, is it salary? Is it flexible hours? Is it a certain type of communication? You want more communication? Do you want less communication? Do you want creativity? Do you want to be internal or external facing? So a lot of different questions that you can be asking yourself, and then finding out how those desires of yours for your next role align with the different types of jobs that are out there. And then once you know that, let's figure out what they want and let's get you aligned. So that's when we go into the alignment phase. And because we're giving you a system today, obviously I'm not going to be able to go into super granular detail about what that means, but these are the components at each of these stages. And there is not one system out there that's perfect, but you need to have a system that works for you. So find out what works for you. Make sure that you're working all of these different categories, both in alignment and in execution, and start doing that. I guarantee you, if you are able to create a system and be covering all of these bases, you'll start to see some traction. So when it comes to the alignment phase, this is where we're giving them what we want. So we're going to go out there and do some market research. And it might sound a little strange, market research. What does that actually mean at this point? So data people, I love working with data people because data people know where the data is. So data people, where's the data? What are we researching here? Anybody knows that? Drop it in the comments. And in the meantime,
I feel like this is a step that most people don't know how to do.
Exactly. I feel the same way. Okay, we're not getting any comments coming through. So the research that we're going to do is we're going to go out onto the World Wide Web. We're going to search for the jobs that we really want. So I'm gonna say, a 7 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10 for you in terms of desirability. When you look at that job description, is it a 10 out of 10 for you, or is it a 2 out of 10? If it's a 2 out of 10, we don't want to align ourselves to that job description. We want to find 5, 10, maybe even 15 job descriptions that all fit within 1 to a maximum of 2 different role types. And we want to toss that into a sheet, grab all those job descriptions, and figure out, okay, what is the common denominator, or what are the common denominators across these roles? In order for me to land a job in any of these given roles, and for me to be attractive for any of these given roles in general on my LinkedIn profile, for example, what do I need to be demonstrating? What do I need to be cherry picking about my background? So we're going to start with that, finding out what they want. Then we're going to have a list. And for it can differ, from data analyst to data analyst. I see somebody new MSCS grad here looking for data analyst roles, asking a really great question. Is it better to specialize in one domain like healthcare, supply chain, finance, or focus on the role regardless of industry? So, one of the check boxes that recruiters are liking to check is an industry match. So if you're looking for low-hanging fruit and you're happy with the industry that you've been in, I would say absolutely make that industry match and lean into the industry. And for that reason, because there are different industries out there and there are different directions that you could go in, of course, Python's going to be a big tool. Excel is going to be a big tool. SQL is going to be a big tool. But depending on the industry, there will be different variations of that. And it'll be really good for you to see, for you specifically, what does that look like? Then once you know that, we're going to move on to step 2 to work on your personal brand, where we go and we take that curated overview and we do the cherry picking out of our resume. And we see like, okay, they want A, I have A. I've demonstrated A by. They want B, I've demonstrated B by. And basically giving them very specifically what they want, demonstrating to them that you have already done the things that they're looking for. Then, of course, once we've got that narrative, because this personal brand isn't just for LinkedIn, it's not just for your resume, but also we're wanting this, and Kadisha does a really good job of explaining this, by the way. We are wanting this to come through consistently in all areas. So like when you meet somebody on the street and they ask you, hey, what do you do? We want you to be able to give them an elevator pitch and talk about your personal direction. It's all going to be coming back to your personal brand. So that's at the core. Going to be using that in interviews too. Then we need to make sure that we get that up on LinkedIn, because today, with all of the AI tools that are out there, people are robo applying for jobs. Companies are super, super overwhelmed with all of the volume of AI generated resumes that they're getting out there. So if I were recruiting today, I would not only be looking at somebody's resume before I commit to a conversation with them, I would definitely be clicking into their LinkedIn. And I don't know, Kadisha probably also has something to say about the data portfolio. That's also part of it. I'm going to leave that part to Kadisha though. And also, last component, your resume. So LinkedIn is a static thing, kind of static. I mean, you've got the one, you can be changing it all the time. But when it comes to resumes, this is what we're really tailoring. So for every single job that you're applying for, we really got to be cherry picking, the thing that they want. Going back to Hari Haran, I hope I'm saying your name right, back to their question, if it's healthcare focused or if it's finance focused and you're coming right out of university, if you've done a project in healthcare, we're leading with that. If you've got experience working with finance data, we're leading with that. So it really depends, which direction you're going, like what you're emphasizing and what you're cherry picking. So if you're able to do this research, figure out what they want, and then put it out there both in terms of your LinkedIn profile and your resume, then we're aligned. Then we're good. All right. But that's not all, because that's just the alignment phase. Then we're going to talk about the execution phase. So I like to get the alignment phase done in a maximum of 2 weeks. I think that everybody has their own pace. And especially like if you're not 100% sure, what the roles are that are going to really excite you, it might take a little bit longer. So go at it at your own pace, but make sure you make those decisions so that you're able to move on. Because if you're not able to move out of stage 2, the alignment stage, then it's going to be hard for you to land something at the end. And we really, really, going back to that, actually, guys, we really, really want to get this right. The discovery phase, what do I want to be? Because if you misalign yourself and then you move into the execution phase, it's a lot of wasted energy. So really, really, I feel people really, they go straight to stage 3. And I would love for you to pause, take a breath, figure out stage 1, go on, do the work for stage 2, dig it up, and then you'll be setting yourself up for success for stage 3. And then what is in stage 3? So I like to work with KPIs on a weekly basis. What are we doing every single week? How do we know that we're doing it well? How do we know that we're meeting our goals? So why don't we set it up just like, we set up our work when we're working for a company. So you've got your KPIs, your boss expects you to hit X, Y, and Z every week, month, et cetera, et cetera. Set those goals for yourselves. And I think that it's important for everyone to be able to set goals that they feel comfortable with so that you really are setting yourself up for success when it comes to your workload and the time investment that you have for execution. So figure out how much time do you have, how many applications, how much networking, how much interview prep can you be doing every single week. So these are the components of the system in my week in my execution phase on a weekly basis. So we have the weekly goals around applications; those are cold applications. Networking: how many people are we pinging? Interview prep: I feel like leaving this until the end, you're absolutely not setting yourself up for success, because interviewing is like a very special component of the standardized test that really needs a lot of preparation. And doing good interview prep really sets you up for like having a good resume, and it all ties in together. So I like having this on a weekly cadence too. And then also maybe having a little bit less of a strict number around how many follow-ups we're doing and how much posting. And when I say posting, I do mean, yes, posting generally on LinkedIn, or wherever else you're gaining traction. But definitely these are the components. The big ones that I put down, applications, networking, and interview prep, I think are the most important components. And then follow up and posting are just things that are going to be like supporting all the other efforts that you have. And when it comes to posting, like, people hate posting. Anybody here in the chat love/hate posting? Let us know if you love posting/hate posting on LinkedIn. But I feel like overall, if I had to guess like the percentage of people that I work with who love posting, it's probably close to like 5%. But
Isn't
maybe
isn't being an
10%.
adult isn't being an adult like 90% doing stuff that you don't like but have to do it anyways?
Yeah. I mean, the bad thing though about the job search and posting is like you don't have to.
You don't.
And
It
I
increases
mean,
your chance though.
yeah, I mean, the thing is, okay, not a big fan of posting. Great. Awesome. You know what? We can make you a fan of posting. So the thing is, like, all of these things that you're doing is just helping you increase the probability that you'll land any of those jobs. So people ask me like, can I just get a job without posting? Yes. And is it going to be harder? Yes. It's going to be harder.
Think of it like the variables of the success equation. Like, so if you don't want to post, okay, well, are you up something else if you don't like
Yeah.
posting, you know? So like
Yeah.
increase you miss all the shots you don't take. Exactly. And it's literally, what do you call it? I always give the baseball example, like striking out before you even get to the striking yourself out before you even get to the plate. So you don't even get
Mm,
to the plate to even take any at bats. You just like
right.
you don't even, so but yeah, if you don't want to post, you can, increase your applications. If you don't want to increase your applications, increase your networking. You know what? I wonder if people would rather post or network. I feel like the networking to
Mm,
me, out of all of these, I would say has a higher weight to it.
mm,
But most people don't want to do it. All right.
yeah.
Okay. So which other thing will you do more? Like if you think
Yeah.
of it in those things, like, okay, these are the variables. I don't really like doing posting. So what else are you going to do more of? Kind of think of it in those buckets, in my opinion, that would help. But, you know,
Yeah. I mean, I think you can compensate a little bit. But I wouldn't even recommend getting rid of posting. Like, if you really don't like posting, set yourself a low goal that you feel comfortable to meet every week. If you can get one post out every week, send that post. You know, when I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, and when I see people's profiles, I can make a ton of assumptions about them, and quite often they are right. So even me knowing, like, seeing that somebody has posted like consistently at least like once a month, I know this person is on LinkedIn at least once a month. So it's like everything that we're doing, everything that we're putting out there is data out into the universe.
especially with the bots.
What do you mean, the bots?
Well, it makes you even like, okay, this is a real person. Like the fact
Oh,
that they have
yeah.
activity.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I wouldn't recommend taking any of these out of the equation. But I would recommend finding a number that works for you, and like setting that as your KPI for the week. If it's posting, like, I like the weekly cadence, at least one post a week. If you can do 5 posts a week, amazing. Good for you. Ooh, somebody doesn't have a hard time networking versus posting. Okay, good. Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I like networking more than posting. I'd rather chat with a person.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about these numbers, but I would say, when it comes out to when it comes down to applications, I feel like there is a bottom number. I feel like for me, like the bottom number really can be like 15, because when we're like setting up a system for ourselves, we can be doing things that like makes it easy for us to achieve that goal. So for example, we need to be getting out customized resumes for every job that we're applying for. Great. How do we make that happen consistently and effectively and efficiently? So for me, that's using AI. And when I say AI, I do not mean one of these AI resume generator tools. I've never found a good one. So for me, that means, setting up a custom GPT, setting up a Claude project that gives you good, consistent output that knows you really well and is going to do a great job aligning you to those jobs. Part of the system. What about networking? What does the networking system look like? I mean, for me, it's like knowing, first of all, who are we networking with? What are the people, like, what types of people do we want to be talking to? How are we finding them? How many messages are we sending out on a weekly basis to them? What are we saying in the messages? Of course, it goes a lot more granular than these general boxes, but having that approach like baked in and ready to go takes so much of the effort away. Like, has anybody ever like sat in front of the screen and thought, "Oh my god, this is the perfect person for me to have a chat with. I really really want to have a chat with them. What am I going to say in this message?" And then you like sit in front of the computer and you look at it for like half an hour and you're trying to write like a 300 character message, and it's hard. So if you've got a structure behind it and like these are the 3 things that I'm going to hit on in every single networking message that I send out, amazing. You're going to be able to do it a lot more quickly, a lot more effectively.
Yeah, and also when people are like, okay, who do I talk to, or who should I target? It goes back to that first step of like, who do you want to be when you grow up? Whoever has what you want, and go talk to them. Just go
Yeah,
find 5 to 10 people starting out. Whoever has what you want, go find them and go talk to them. It's that
right.
simple. So
Yeah,
if you miss step one, steps or step two, yeah, step three, where a lot of people are at, they're gonna be flying blind
yeah,
and wasting a lot of time.
absolutely. And what's something that makes people want to talk to you? It's going to be like if you look like you're an interesting person to talk to, right? So if you put on your LinkedIn profile, let's say you're sending a connection request to this person, this dream person for you to network with, and let's say your LinkedIn profile hasn't been aligned yet, and you're pivoting into data analytics, and let's say you've got a background as a teacher, an English teacher, and all of a sudden an English teacher is sending a message to this rock star data analyst at this dream company, I don't know, XYZ, whatever, company XYZ. What is going to make them want to talk to you? We want to do the alignment first, because we want them to see your profile and be like, "Okay, that's a person I want to talk to." So going straight to step 3, the execution phase, don't recommend it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, some people, well, now a lot of people, they have. I don't think they understand their gifts enough for them to realize that they are an interesting person to talk to if they do have stuff to offer when they talk to people, when they introduce themselves. um, and that I think hinders them as well. It's kind of crazy where you have people with like 20 plus years experience here, whatever there, and they feel like they have nothing to offer if they reached out to someone.
Right.
um, so at this stage you got to be confident too. You don't want to, you don't want to come off as too timid, you don't want to come off as arrogant, but you don't want to come off as like timid on here
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I would say shoot your shot, take the time to align yourself and then go ahead and, put yourself out there and ask people for that chat. It's both like an art and a science, I would say, like all of these things, but especially when it comes to networking. You know, who are we reaching out to, and what are we telling them? What are we asking them? And also a lot of times people will get really bummed. Let's say you put all your eggs in one basket. You find the perfect person to network with, and they don't get back to you. You know, networking is something that it's good for everybody to do, but sometimes people just don't have time, you know, or they're really like they're busy on the grind, they've got kids, whatever. They might not be on LinkedIn very often. Um, so they might just not get back to you, not because of you, but because of them. So it's a numbers game. As much as you can do to set yourself up for success, absolutely do that. But then also know there's gonna definitely 100% be a rejection. You're not going to get rejected 100% of the time, but imagine that you get a 10% response rate. You ask for a chat with somebody in an industry that you want to work for, a dream company. And let's say you want to work at Google, and let's say you're getting a 10% response rate on these messages, these networking messages. So how many people do we need to message at Google to have one chat? 10, my friends, 10. So if you've got a formula and you know what you want to say in order to be able to get them into a chat with you, setting yourself up for success. Put in the effort.
Right, and these, a lot of companies have, especially the big corporate ones, they have referral bonuses. So I think it's in there, and they're incentivized to want to bring in great talent. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then when it comes to interview prep, what are we doing for interview prep?
mostly nothing.
Mostly nothing. Like I find that actually, I find people are mostly doing nothing when it comes to interview prep. This is a muscle we need to flex. So, interview prep, best thing that you can do, obviously, is do it with a person. If you can, do it with a person who knows how to give an interview, somebody who's evaluated people before, somebody who's been in the hiring loop. That's the absolute best thing that you can do. But these people, if you're not working with a coach, you're not always going to find somebody who's really good at that or who's available. You can have a great mock interview with ChatGPT. Give it some context, tell it like, these are my goals. Let's have a, an interview conversation and just see what feedback you can get from ChatGPT. You'll be glad you did, at least once a week. And then definitely before every single interview that you are invited to, so that you're preparing specifically for that interview. And there are whole granular subcategories of what to do in your interview prep, but at least if you can be getting in those reps every week, I always say practice makes better. So just do it once and again every single week, and you'll be getting that little bit better every single time. Right. And then, Kadisha, I saw you just unmuted. There's one more thing that you had said at the beginning that I'm kind of thinking about right now. When it comes to like when to apply for jobs, like right now it's summer, hiring tends to be a little bit down during the summer. And I've heard people, and actually I've recently, this last couple of weeks, I've had conversations with people who say like, I just don't even feel like applying because hiring is so down in the summer. And I would say, even though hiring is down, there are so many people out there that have that attitude. Like, yeah, it's summer, so why would I apply? I'm gonna like go out and enjoy my day. But a lot of people are thinking that too, right? So a lot of people kind of like take themselves out of the application process during summer, and that might even, I don't have hard data on this, but that might even improve your chances if the application numbers are down. So think about it that way.
You should be testing the waters at some point too. So like you shouldn't wait till like you should be testing, even if this is the summer, to be testing stuff, right? Start testing or building your system now when there's, lesser competition.
I totally agree because, the first interview that you go into, I would assume it's going to be, probably one of the worst interviews you ever have. If it's your first interview, let's do that. Let's get that out of the way. I've also had people who come to me and say, like, oh, I'm not really interested in this job. I'm not interested in this company. I'm going to say no to the interview. No, man, have that interview. Get it out of the way. You're talking interview prep. Use that as a mock.
Yeah.
See how far you can get in the process. Learn something along the way. Companies use applicants for so much stuff. Don't feel bad about this. If you say, like, oh, I'm going to be wasting their time, no. Most of the time, like 99% of the time, they're wasting your time. If you get that 1%, shoot your shot, my friend.
Yeah, and then gather data. Like never, I would never, if I had an actual like talk to someone, whether it's a phone screen or an actual interview, like too many people like they don't ask for feedback if they don't land. And so like I think I said this last time, like they'll just run all these narratives in their head that of why they didn't, get the job, but they didn't even ask like
Mm,
why. So ask so you can get that feedback and you can implement it for the next one. If you're
right.
not, then again, flying blind, you're not capturing data. I guarantee I bet there's people who don't even like track their applications and interviews and things like that. It's interesting. It's
Yeah.
like we're trying to be analysts, but we're not like, applying our analytics skills to our applications and interviewing. It's interesting. It's like
Yeah.
backwards. It's like
Yeah.
backwards. Yeah.
Yeah, I was so surprised when I started working with like data scientists. It was kind of the first like bigger group that I started working with, and I was like, let's look at the data. And then a lot of times I got, what data? Like, what do you mean, what data? Don't you have a spreadsheet? And then I realized, like, oh my gosh, we need a spreadsheet. We need to be tracking this. And Kadisha and I, we came up with a tracker that tracks. Obviously it requires some manual input there, but also it tells you what, like, if you're hitting your KPIs on a weekly basis. Let's say your minimum applications number is 15, you got 12, you are not in the green yet, my friend. It's Friday afternoon, better get to it. 3 more applications need to go out before the end of the day. Um, so I feel like with anything, just like with anything, like if it's not tracked, it's not improved. So
Oh yeah.
track it
That's
so you can improve it.
I'm pretty sure there's a quote about that.
Yeah,
You can't you
definitely.
can't you can't improve anything if it's not tracked.
Right. Absolutely. All right. And what about you, Kadisha? So when it comes to like the technical aspects, what are you wanting people to do in order to set them up for success in their system?
Well, so number one, as far as like learning the skills, you have to have a system around that. So, what are the minimum viable skills necessary for the job that I want that I looked up in step one? Okay, I need SQL, Excel, Tableau, whatever it is. Have a system to learn all of those things. Um, then once you have that, I always say like once you really know SQL is like the gatekeeper. You should start applying because you really want to get reps in when it comes down to technical screens and all of those things. Everyone has bombed interviews before, but every interview you do, you get more confident for the next one. So it's like it increases your chances. You're gathering data from the job market. You're not going to gather data from the job market if you're just going to hide behind courses the whole time and be scared to actually interview or just wait until you feel absolutely perfect to start applying to get it. But you really have to put yourself and get some reps in. So once you get your minimum viable skills, you feel very confident with SQL, you got to start applying and got to start prepping because you want to keep the momentum going. Now, think about the different types of like interviews and technical interviews. There's uh there's some Excel assessments out there that's still out there. There are take-home assignments, take-home assessment, take-home projects that's still very popular for well-paying roles. There are coding assessments. There's still SQL coding assessments going on. You need to be prepared for all of them, right? So again, you want to not just learn SQL and learn Excel and learn blah 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 for like doing a project, but you also have to learn how to take these and do well in technical assessments. So knowing the different types of technical assessments, definitely want to be prepared and be ready. But again, that's why you want to be applying minimum 15 a week so you can apply and apply and apply and get that data and get that experience out there. So yeah, so prepping for that. And then I think the most important thing in terms of doing all of these things is that you're going to again, build your confidence with your, like, you cannot build, you're not going to gain confidence with your technical skills if you just work by yourself. It's not gonna happen. Why do you feel, if you think about it, why do we feel like, I don't know, maybe nervous about interviews or whatever it is? Because we're in front of other people, but we're not usually in front of other people when we're by ourselves. So if you put yourself in those positions where you can practice and get feedback from the market when the stakes are lower, that's what you need to be doing. So but the key there is you gotta keep up the momentum. Everyone here is a busy adult. We're not talking to mostly new grads that have nothing else to do but study. So that this is why it's super crucial to, like, as soon as you feel comfortable with advanced Excel, start applying bare minimum. These are things that you should, like, do things like in order, not in order, but like certain things at the same time. Like, you shouldn't just like wait till you absolutely finish with your skills and then only work on your personal branding. That makes no sense. Like, you're going to then you talk to people and they're like, yeah, I haven't practiced SQL in like 2 months. How does that happen? Like, seriously, you lose momentum. And this is why you when you say, okay, I want to be a data analyst, and it's July, and then October hits and you're like, "Ah, I haven't touched SQL in like 2 months." Well, what made you not touch SQL in 2 months? You should always be practicing. So like, what made you stop doing that? So yeah, it's really about that. It's knowing the minimum viable skill set, getting good at SQL, and knowing the different types of technical assessments, and applying early so you can keep up the momentum and put yourself out there in front of, get reps in. You need to get reps in your personal with behavioral interviews and technical interviews. It's just like dating. Like, come on. No one married their first date. And if you did, I mean, maybe 40 years ago.
Maybe. Okay, so that being said, if you, Kadisha, had to, thinking in terms of the technical skills, and you had to give us some input as to, which of or what efforts when it comes to technical skills belong in stage 1, 2, and 3, discovery, alignment, and execution, like, where would you put the skills in those stages? Are you
Oh,
able to do that?
okay, so discovery, I would say that is, yeah, that's step one in terms of like, okay, if I want to be an analyst, a data analyst, if I want to be a marketing analyst, whatever it is. Well, first, I think this is where you got to look at what's the market. So you get like 20 job descriptions of those target jobs. So if it's 20 target jobs, if let's say you want to you into marketing, and so you get a lot of data analysts and marketing companies or whatever it is, then you take that and then you can put it into a Claude or whatever, and then gather what are the patterns, which technical skills keep popping up in 80% of the job descriptions, and then that's your marker right there. And then once you get these are the jobs that the market's asking for, you do a gap analysis and see which do you have now, which do you not have, and then you see the gap. And that's how you know what courses. So that's alignment, right? Um and then the execution in terms of getting it done. Now you're not going to say like, um let me just just randomly take courses or whatnot. No, now you can maybe if it says, oh, okay, I know Excel. I've taken a lot of Excel, but you know what, I've never made like a full project in Excel, but I know it very well. I've never taken Power BI though. Let me just do a project. Let me go grab a data set and just do a project, a dashboard, whatever it is in Excel, just so I can just see, um, just so I can create or an artifact, so I can absolutely visually see my skill in Excel. Not just, oh, I took courses, whatever. I can visually see it once it's there. Okay, that takes like a couple days. Now I'll go take a course in Power BI, because Power BI showed up in 75% of the target job descriptions that I wanted. 20 of them of what I wanted. So I have to go. So that becomes your target. That becomes your North Star, right? And then execution is like that. So it's like So execution is like doing the courses after that. And then also and then preparing for the you should prepare for, again, all the different types of technical assessments. um but again, you'll be mostly in the execution phase, but again, most people skip 1 and 2, right? Most people skip 1 and 2, and honestly, it sounds boring, right? It sounds like whatever. You want to take your time and do 1 and 2. Like, again, it doesn't have to take. I know, Emily, you said what, 2 weeks for those two? Was it 2 weeks total, you would say?
Some people can take ages in the discovery phase. So if you've got a good idea, I think you can hone it. Like I honed it in with somebody yesterday in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So it really depends on the person, but I firmly believe that you can get the alignment stage completely done in 2 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, these 2 weeks, whether it's 5 minutes, whether it's 1 week or 2 weeks, that will save you months and time on the back end. Like, it will literally save you time. It's literally like, I don't know, the difference between driving from, if I wanted to drive from here, South Florida, to LA, without Google Maps versus with Google Maps. Or if I wanted to drive and, like, I can just like go and see like where are the major highways, and I can just kind of like go off of that and like, okay, I'm going to remember to take the turnpike or whatever it is. Or else I'm just going to kind of go fly by the seams. Like, it really makes a difference. No one likes to plan anymore, right? Let's go back to really wanting to plan. Get a pen and paper, right? And just do steps 1 and 2. It's going to save you so much. And again, no course teaches you this, whatever it is, but it's really going to save you a lot of time, and it's going to make the execution so much easier. You know what's going to make it easy? It's going to make it less overwhelming, because there's so much information. Everyone is like, oh man, there's so much. I don't know which to pick. I don't know which industry to target. I don't know. But if you do steps 1 and 2, if you take the time to do discovery and alignment, execution's easy, because you cut out the noise, right? So if you want to be overwhelmed, don't do 1 and 2. Keep it up. But
Right.
if you I'm telling you, what really gets people the job or whatever, it's having that system and doing 1 and 2.
Yeah, absolutely. So I feel like we're coming up on time here, and we got a couple of really good questions in the chat. Am I able to? Oh, I am able to show. All right. So if you receive 100 resumes for an entry-level data analyst role, what separates the top 5% from everyone else? What a great question.
It's a great question, but before we answer that, Emily,
yeah,
let's share another slide that we prepared, because we
Oh.
want to give people, listen, building the system, it's one thing, but we gave you the tool, we gave you the blueprint. If you want to work with me and Emily to help really just build a system for you, take your phone, take a screenshot. It's a very short survey, and while that's up, let's answer these questions.
Awesome. And you know what, Kadisha, you actually said something earlier that I really didn't particularly like.
What?
Yeah. So you said stage 1 and 2, no course teaches you that. If I may remind you, our course does teach you that.
That's right. I forgot. Yeah. That's
Which
true.
is actually where this content comes from. So
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So please keep that in mind. All right. That being said, back to the question. When you receive 100 resumes for an entry-level data analyst role, what separates the top 5% from everyone else? Love this question. This literally was my job at Wayfair. So I found that there were a couple of different things that would, and this was before AI. Nobody was sending out AI resumes when I was doing this. So for me, the human reviewing, you got to make it blatantly clear to me that you are the top candidate, that you are a good candidate for the role. How do we do that? We don't start out by saying, this is me, this is all the stuff I have. What I want you to do is go to the job description, and I want you to see what I want from you, and I want you to very clearly and systematically give me that. I want the headline to, right below your name, I want it to say, if I'm looking for a BI analyst, I want it to say BI analyst. If my role, like let's say I'm looking for a BI analyst in consulting and the job title is BI analyst healthcare, I want to see BI analyst healthcare, or maybe like the separator bar, healthcare. I want you to give it to me as clearly as you possibly can. I want you to have an executive summary at the top that says like, okay, I'm a new grad and I've done, X, Y, and Z in healthcare using these tools. Outcomes were this. I want to see your skills. I want to see, if I say Python and R and SQL and Power BI, I would like to very much see those on your resume in the skills section. When it comes to bullets, if you've got an internship under your belt, great. I want to see the outcome. I want you to lead with the impact that you had in that role or on that project. So those are the things that I'm looking for. I'm looking for keywords. I'm looking for, not only the most obvious things like the SQL, the Python, et cetera, et cetera. I'm looking for other things like industry match and outcomes. Because as a data analyst, like it's a little bit of a red flag for me as if as a data analyst, you don't know what your impact was because you were in the data, you should know. All right, another great question. Same person. I don't want to butcher your name, so I'm not going to try to do it again. Apologies for that in advance. So what's the biggest reason qualified new graduates don't get interview calls, even when they have strong technical skills and relevant projects? I'm going to go back to your last question and say not presenting it well, not making it blatantly obvious. So make it blatantly obvious, set up your system, run the system, make it happen. All right. Okay, I don't know that this is necessarily a question, but Shalom said they had that kind of experience and felt the same way with one of the LinkedIn friends this morning. She told me that she can refer me into her team, but I just had a teaching experience and no data analytics. Okay, so if you're getting referred into an analytical team, then I'm going to go ahead and say you got something that person saw in you. Amazing. Maybe worth another conversation if it's not really clear. And if the person really is in the team and they're a friend of yours, have that chat with them and ask them in detail, what is it specifically that you need to be showing this team?
Okay, but that's not true. I just had a teaching experience with no data. Like, are we saying that we've only been a teacher but we have no like analytics experience? I think there's so many teachers who pivoted to analytics, like it's not even funny. I mean, I always say like every professional is a data analyst. Like it's just every person, like it's not like that's like this is why like step one is so important. Like you have to like understand like how I don't know, ambiguous being a data analyst is. I don't know. It's not like being a software engineer. Like that's very specific. You cannot say that, yeah, I was a software engineer as a teacher. Like what the heck was going on there? But no, you do, everyone works with data. So
Yeah.
But that's a mindset thing that you have to I would adjust,
Right. And then just go back into your teaching experience. Where did you work with data? I mean, every single teacher works with some kind of grading learning management system. And I mean, this is data, right? When I worked in higher ed and I had spreadsheets and I analyzed that data. I didn't even know I was doing it, but I was doing it. And later when I found out how cool data was, I did like the Google Data Analytics certificate. And I was like, I have been doing this all along. I just didn't have the language for it. So I feel like the more you get into the learning, like the more you'll be able to pick out, specifically what you've done. You didn't have to have the job title, you don't have to have data analyst as a previous title on your resume in order to land another data analyst role. But you do need to know, out of my previous work, what did I do with data and how can I talk about that to the hiring manager?
All right.
All right. We got a couple more questions. Are you still okay to go for another couple minutes to answer these questions?
I got nowhere to go.
All right, good. Okay, so what happens if you have experience in one sector, i.e., finance, but you see a post for an analyst position in tech? What are the main points to emphasize in order to land that job? I think we're always going for something that's analogous. So if you're interested in tech, is there a finance connection? Because there's always like financial analysts in every single company. So if you have like a finance background and you really want to work for Google, see if you can like in your search when you're looking for those job descriptions, type something like data analyst in finance and then see what comes up. You might get a lot of ads from finance companies, but on LinkedIn you can also filter by industry and you can also filter by company. So see what you find, and just always try to be relating it as much as possible to what you have previously done. If it has nothing to do with finance, well, maybe emphasize some of the outcomes that you've had. Keep it really focused on the process and the outcomes. If you've got that strong finance background and you're looking for, and you're applying for a job in finance, go into detail, talk about that industry connection. Should I apply even with a beginner or no portfolio at all? Kadisha, what do you say to that?
First, why would you not have a portfolio though?
Hmm.
Like, why would you not have one? Even if it's just one project.
Yeah. Have something.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I mean, that's how we demonstrate. Like if you don't have any background in data, you're learning the tools, like what are you going to talk about in the interview?
Okay, one thing people don't realize, like, it is a cheat code. I have had students land very high paying roles who demoed their portfolio in the interview. So I don't know, like, what's this low value people look at? They look at, I don't know why people like approach a portfolio like it's a chore. Like, you
Mm.
guys, it's especially now today. Like, come on, like, are you? I mean, let me ask you guys something. If you guys had like, let's say you guys had a wedding coming up or whatever it is, um, if in terms of like choosing the caterer, right? Are you gonna just are do you not want to taste the food? Are you not gonna want to taste the food? You're not gonna want to see it? Like, I know everyone's gonna have a resume. You gotta put your resume like it's a non-negotiable. Like, you should have a portfolio. You don't have to. That's why you should always have a working portfolio. Like, I recommend like always like having one, start one, and then as you're learning, you should have a working portfolio. You shouldn't wait until, oh, let me build a portfolio this weekend and then that's when I'm gonna, like, no. That then you'll feel overwhelmed and stuff like that. But you should have a portfolio. So we shouldn't even be asking that question.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Next. Okay, very good question. Do international students in the US face a significant disadvantage in getting shortlisted for entry level data analyst roles? If so, what would you recommend that they do differently to stand out? Very good question. Yes, if you have a background where you're going to eventually need support with your residence permit, that is a huge disadvantage in the United States. And what I would recommend, and the people who I work with who have come and completed a master's degree or a bachelor's degree in the United States and have that 3 years of OPT, I would say you got to go even harder than everybody else and you need to be as good as you possibly can because it is hard. It is rough out there. So go 10 times harder would be my advice to you.
And you have
Any
to target,
insights?
I'm assuming they're targeting, you have to target like the big fang companies, like that's just, I'm not, I don't know if that's like a known thing when you guys get here, but like that's just the way it is. Like, um they're always, I always wondered why, like, people like a lot of the international students would be targeting the fang roles or like, BCG, those big four companies. But you realize, oh well, they're the ones that they will have no issue providing what do you call it, sponsorship. But that's
Mm,
just the way it is. That is just a fact, and you accept it and then you just put in the work.
yeah. Aim high. All right. I think we can take maybe like two more questions. Applying with data analyst resume, not a specific domain, but getting very few interview calls. What would be your strategy to land interviews if you were starting your career today? I would say if you are a new grad, if you've got something that can match you to the industry, use it, leverage it.
Yeah, if you do not finish college without an internship, I mean, that's been like the cheat code for college, whether it's bachelor's or master's, is having an internship. It's always been that way. And it's worse now. It's like it's even more evident now, but like if you if anyone is in college watching, do not finish college without an internship. Even if you get a co-op and you like, even if it pushes your grad date out, it's worth it. But to
Yeah,
finish college today without an internship is almost like, I don't know. It's like you're not getting the full value. You're not getting the value without it. I just guarantee it.
absolutely.
I think the access to internships, the fact that you have to be in college and like no one else can get it, right? You know, I think that's like the biggest flex. That's like the
Yeah.
only flex to go to college.
Yeah.
Like,
Honestly, I think that is so true. And I would say that, when I was hiring, I would always care what someone has paid you to do much more than I would care about, what you learned in college. You went to a great university, fantastic. No work experience, okay. But here's another person who went to like some, mid-level university, had a great internship and is able to talk about it. I am calling that person all day long. So, whatever you can do, get some experience. It doesn't even have to be paid. When I say, what someone has paid you to do, like what did somebody like let you into their company and like get into their data, get into their systems, and then produce something for them? That is important. Okay. So Greg is talking about, I'm going to assume his skills. Okay, we have another person, 300 plus applications, often getting rejected. So I would say definitely because of people are probably assuming that you need sponsorship. And let's see. All right, okay. So coming back to our teacher here, they work with Excel and the grading while grading and taught Excel through Excel. You used Excel. All right, you've got some Excel skills. Awesome. Good stuff.
okay, looks like that's all the questions.
Yeah, awesome. Like good engagement today, friends.
Alrighty. Well, thank you guys for being here. It was nice, as
Yeah,
always. And we will see you next time.
right. Absolutely. If you're interested in, finding out more about what Kadisha and I do, the Dream Team, have a look at that quiz.
Yep.
All
Get your
right, that's
phone
all for
out,
now.
take a picture.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.